of Theo Vaughn. If you don't know who that is, you need to go look it up after this episode because you will be laughing your ass off. Christina is actually a recovered drug addict, and since her recovery, and as of today, she has ran a total of 644, right? 640. 44 fucking days straight. So today we're going to dive into her crazy story. I found her literally on Instagram. We just followed each other one day, and I have been following along with this crazy running journey, and I'm so excited to open up this can of worms and just hear from you. So let's kick it off with just a little bit about your background, your childhood, how you grew up, how you got introduced to drugs, and we'll kick it off from there, and I'm sure there's lots of tangents that we'll go into.
Oh, all the tangents. We're not going to skip one, I promise. But yeah, so I'm 33 years old. I have been clean and sober for 5 years now. My sober date is May 24th, 2019. Really, how I got into drugs was I broke my elbow when I was in high school, and that was the first time I had ever been prescribed any kind of painkillers or anything like that. And I immediately was like, I like how I feel. This feels amazing. I felt just like a break from reality. And at that time in my life, I was 15 years old. I was a junior in high school, and I had just been sexually assaulted, and I really hadn't told anyone, and I had really kind of just became a bit of a hermit. I just really tried to mask how I was feeling with a big bubbly personality, very outspoken, very just like wild child energy. And I thought that would make me a badass, I guess. I didn't want to be seen as just like this average girl. I always kind of felt like I was meant for more. And it just broke me really bad when I was sexually assaulted. It really just stripped me away of like these human rights that I thought that I had and these rights as a woman. And I just did not know how to deal with that. And not knowing how to cope with life has been this revolving door that I am still at 33 trying to figure out. And it wasn't until I got clean and sober 5 years ago that I really started diving into that. But really from that point on, it was as soon as I discovered opiates, it was like, what else is out there? Of course, my drug of choice was opiates, which led to heroin, but I have tried everything else in between. Xanax was a big part of my journey as well, because when I did decide to start talking about my sexual assault, immediately a doctor put me on Xanax and Klonopin. And I was like, okay, let's go. Yes, please. Like another way out of feeling. It really, that became what I sought out of life. And I tried everything. I went through phases with psychedelics, and I don't mean like eating a tab of acid. I mean eating 20 hits of acid at a time and having these insane experiences where I completely like black out. I was just wanting that oblivion, that like fuck everything, I want out. And it became something that wasn't even fun anymore. As you get deeper into addiction, you're no longer looking to just escape and have fun. You're just trying to like have a semblance of that feeling so that you can try to operate as a normal human being. As I'm sure you know with alcohol, that's really how it is, because when you're sober, you don't even feel like yourself. You don't even want to interact with other people. And I found myself very suicidal. I found myself not wanting to live anymore. I didn't know who I was, what I wanted. I didn't even know where to start. And I think that's why I really just continued to use, and it just continued to get worse and worse, because that's where I felt comfortable. That's what I knew. You know, I haven't been sober since I was literally a child, 14 years old. And even then, really, as a child, I didn't have great examples of how to handle my emotions and how to handle stress. And of course, that is still something I'm figuring out today. Like, I'll be totally honest with you. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 15. I literally just quit smoking cigarettes in July. Like, all of this running I've been doing while smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I don't want to say that, but if we're being brutally honest, that's my story, and that's who I am.
Yeah.
And even now, the past few months without cigarettes, I'm like, I don't have any kind of vice other than caffeine now, and maybe something sweet every now and again, you know, like, and it's weird being an adult and trying to figure these things out. It's so strange and just uncomfortable. It makes you feel like you're a child again, but dealing with all of these adult issues. I know I probably kind of went off on a bunch of different roads there, as I promised we would. But I don't want to sit here and say like I had a horrible, horrible childhood. You know, like I grew up in a middle-class family. You know, we didn't have all the extras, but I had what I needed to get by. I just didn't really have good examples of how to deal with my emotions. Both of my parents, I think, still really struggle with that. And they are very much people who lead with their emotions. And I am still very much someone that leads with my emotions. And I am trying to learn to take a deep breath and think things through. Just because I feel something doesn't mean it's forever. It's going to go away. Feelings are fleeting, right? And it's just basically I just didn't know how to deal with life. And I really think that's what led me to drugs and addiction. And I think that is the story for a lot of people. I don't ever want to sit here and say that's everyone's story. But for a lot of people that I've spoken to who have had similar issues, they didn't know how to cope and deal, and they just wanted out because dealing with that was so much harder. And through this whole experience of recovery and running, that's something I've been trying to prove to myself is I can do hard shit. I can do the hardest of things. And I've amazed myself, to be honest, and I still have so many things that I want to do and I want to experience, and I find myself looking for these challenges now. And some people would say, you know, that's replacing one addiction with another. I'm not even gonna try to coast over that. But I will say a runner's high is nothing like the real thing. That's literally like a merry-go-round compared to a roller coaster, okay?
But I definitely want to dive into all of that. I'm so curious about, even you had brought up kind of this idea of emotions, and I this is a term that I've been doing a lot of research into, is emotional intelligence, because I find that this is where a lot of people, at least a lot of my pain comes from, is not knowing, and like you said, not having healthy examples of emotionally intelligent people to look up to and like realize this is how to handle it in a healthy manner. And I'm really curious, do you think that this is something that even should be taught to us? Like, I think about in schools, like instead of learning fucking algebra that we don't need and really does not set us up well in society, like why don't we learn things like how to handle our emotions and how to be an emotionally intelligent person? Like, do you agree with that? Do you think that that would have had any kind of impact?
1,010%. I literally can't keep my mouth shut about this. And it's so crazy. My dad actually gave me a book titled Emotional Intelligence a few years ago. And I was like, this is crazy coming from you. But thanks, Dad. Thank you. But no, I agree 110%. You know, when in school, was it even mentioned how to deal with stress, much less anger, even happiness? You know, as someone in recovery, when things are going good and right, you're constantly waiting for that other shoe to drop. You're constantly like, okay, this can't just be it. Like, where's the chaos? Where's the turmoil? I'm not struggling enough. Like, pour some more water on me. I'm still breathing. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that is something that, as a child, you watch your parents, you watch your grandparents, you watch whoever it is that's there. How do they deal with issues? How do they deal with even happiness? Something that I've realized lately is some people complain and some people take action. And my parents are complainers, and they would rather dwell and complain about things than actually try to seek a solution. And that is something I've had to completely unlearn. And never once did that ever cross my mind growing up as a teenager, even as a young adult. And so, yeah, I 1,010% agree. But how do you teach that without forming your own opinions and your own, like, you know what I mean? If you were a teacher, I try to see it from all perspectives, but I think the school system fails us in so many ways, and I think they would fail us in that as well if they try. If I'm being 1,000% honest, I mean, look at nutrition. Nutrition that is taught in schools. That's all I knew when I got clean and sober. I mean, God forbid, before I was living off Doritos and Lifesavers and Sweet Tarts and Xanax. Like, literally, I was not even informed about how to build a healthy meal. What kind of snacks are healthy? I was under the impression a salad is healthy. And I think so many people have that same thing. So, yeah, I think it should definitely be something that's talked about. If it was taught, that would be totally amazing. I think our world would be a completely different place.
I think so too. Okay, so I'm curious, what was kind of that turning point that made you decide, okay, it's time to get clean, it's time to get sober? I'm sure that there's a story leading up. I'm sure it wasn't just one time. I'm sure there's multiple. But like, let's dive into that. I want to hear about that.
So I've been to rehab officially twice, and I've been to the psych ward once. I went into the psych ward because part of me wanted to get clean, but part of me also didn't have money or a job or a place to live. So I was like, let me go in the psych ward for a few weeks to try to figure something out, which is crazy to think that that's where your head can get when you don't have somewhere else to turn. But that's where I was. The first time I went to rehab, prior to that, I had really only been snorting heroin, and the guy that I was dating at the time started injecting heroin, and that freaked me the fuck out. I'm just going to be totally honest. Needles scared the absolute shit out of me, and how just fucked up he got compared to just snorting it. I mean, kids die every day from snorting heroin, so please don't think that's not dangerous. It is. But when he started using needles, that scared me. We were living in a hotel. We had been evicted from our apartment. We went and lived with his mom. His mom kicked us out. We were living in a hotel in the hood in Birmingham, Alabama. I felt extremely unsafe, and I just saw things getting worse and worse and worse. I wasn't really eating at this point in time, and I was terrified. I had a friend who had went to rehab in California, and I just kind of latched onto that. There are programs in Alabama, and I was being a picky little bitch. I wanted a vacation. I wanted to go to California. I wanted to stay in a mansion. I wanted the rehab that's on the commercials. Yeah. And to be perfectly honest with you, I set up a GoFundMe and posted it. How embarrassing. How embarrassing is that? I can't believe I'm admitting this, but it's the truth. And in the GoFundMe, I explicitly wrote, I'm trying to raise enough money just to pay for an insurance policy to get into this rehab, because if you're paying cash, it's like 50 grand. It's insane.
Yeah.
And people ridiculed me and were like, you can go down the street to a rehab. And I thought they were crazy at the time. I literally did not think I was being insane. But now looking back, I was like, girl, what is wrong with you? And it didn't even, I don't want to say it didn't help me, but I didn't get sober that time.
Yeah.
I was able to raise enough money to get 6 months of an insurance policy that would get me out there. I was out there for 8 months. And it was a bougie mansion that had a pool, a hot tub. You got a massage once a week. You got acupuncture once a week. You got one-on-one with therapists. I mean, it was legit.
Yeah. And
I did learn a lot there. I think that my time there were a lot of seeds planted that led me to where I am today and led me to getting clean. But ultimately, I decided to go back to Birmingham, Alabama, because I missed my boyfriend. And our deal was that he was going to get clean and sober while I was gone, and so that when I came back, everything would be fine. Of course, I came back into the exact situation that I left. Honestly, it was even worse. And within 2 weeks, I was using it again. And I went straight into shooting up and using needles. And I don't know what the difference was. I was terrified of that just months before. And then when I came back, it didn't even really faze me. Yes, I was disappointed in myself. And I think any addict that has relapsed and tried, there's so much shame and guilt that comes with that. And it's hard to deal with. And again, you don't know how to deal with it. So you continue to get fucked up. Even in my time in rehab that first time, like I said, I did learn things, but did I learn coping skills and mechanisms that would truly help me stay clean and sober? No, I ran right back to the environment that I was in, which is a huge no-no for anyone in recovery. You have to cut ties. It just is what it is, even with your family sometimes.
Yep.
And so I lived that was in 2016, and it wasn't until 2019 that I went back. My stay in the psych ward was in between there in 2017. But things just got worse and worse for me. I continued to use. I still had a Xanax prescription. That was one of the first things I did when I got back. Went back to my doctor, got me a refill, and I would go through that in 3-4 days. I mean, it was just insane. It really, thinking back on it, there's so much that I feel like I don't even remember, but the things I do remember, I'm just like, who is that person? And it's wild that your mind can do that. But ultimately, in 2019, I was staying with a friend who was also using. Neither of us had jobs. Her parents were paying for this house we were living in. And they knew what was going on, but I don't really think they knew how to handle it. And my current boyfriend that I have now, his mom, who I actually used with previously, got clean and sober. Her husband was fed up and said, I'm going to put you in the psych ward, and then after that you're going to rehab. And I think she even went in thinking, yeah, I'm just going to do this, please him, get back out, do the same thing. But something changed in her. And she really wanted me to give it another try. And at the time I was miserable, so miserable. I had multiple suicide attempts. I literally would get as much money as I could, get as much dope as I could to literally try to OD and kill myself. And I've OD'd multiple times. Luckily, I didn't die, but she finally pushed me into it. In Alabama, you have to get this assessment done to go into a state-funded rehab facility. And she took me to get the assessment, and my boyfriend at the time. We both got the assessment, and later that day they called and said they had a bed for just me.
Wow.
And so I didn't want to go. I remember laying in bed and crying to my boyfriend, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to leave. Like, I'm scared. This isn't going to work. Like, I did not have any faith in it. But yes, I wanted it, but not that badly, you know? I was terrified. I don't know how to deal with all of this shit. And as soon as you get clean and sober, you realize very quickly, like, you have to start dealing with this shit. Or then you're just going to be living in the same hellhole and not high, which is even worse, I think. I mean, it's miserable. It really is. And so I went to a rehab facility in Birmingham, Alabama that is funded by United Way. And it is really a halfway house for people who just get out of prison, people who have had their kids taken away and have to go to rehab to get them back. I remember sitting in one of the meetings, and I was looking around the room, and I was the only person in there that was my age that had all of my teeth, that didn't have multiple children, that wasn't living on the street prior to this. And it just, a wave came over me, and I was like, this is not the life I want to live. This is not who I'm supposed to be. It was like this, in AA, they call it like a spiritual experience or a spiritual awakening. Mm-hmm. And no, it wasn't this euphoric thing, but it was like this just crazy realization and awareness of the exact spot that I'm in that I guess I hadn't really considered before. And an awareness that this is what my life is going to be if I don't do something and take action. And I just kind of opened myself up to what life would look like. I was terrified. I thought my life would be miserable. I thought I would be miserable, and I would just be white knuckling it, which is a term in AA where you're not working a program, you're not taking really any action. You might get a job and find a place to live, but you're not working on yourself. Mm-hmm. And I really started to just kind of fall more into it. And day by day, I started realizing, like, hey, I can do this. Like, this is possible. It's going to be tough, but what you were doing was tough. Waking up every day, trying to figure out how to get enough money to make it to the drug dealer and then try to survive the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. What kind of, that's not a life. Mm-hmm. That's not even existing. Like, you're breathing, but you're not home. You're not there. And yeah, I wish I had some crazy moment. You know, some people are like, I got in a car accident, or my friend got shot in front of me, or I got robbed at gunpoint. And a lot of those things have happened to me. I've been robbed at gunpoint. I've had friends OD in front of me, and I'm literally the thing that saves their life. And still, none of that hit. And that's so insane. Like, it's literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I have constantly just reminded myself of, because that's what I did for the 15 years, from the time I was 15 till the time I was 28 years old. Mm-hmm. And I just started taking small steps and doing the right thing. AA was a pillar for me, if you can't tell. I think I'm very much a rules and regulations kind of person. Mm-hmm. If you give me instructions and tell me what to do, I can do it. But if you're just like, okay, you need to have a normal life, I'm like, okay, where do I start? What do I do? Mm-hmm. And that's what AA gave me. It gave me a toolbox of steps to work to better myself. And it just slowly started working. And I think that's the miracle of surrounding yourself with people who are doing something different. Yes, it was painful to completely just stop contacting and talking to everyone that was in my life, but it saved my life ultimately. And even though I was walking into a room full of strangers and taking their advice, and sometimes I would literally be sitting there looking at them and I'm like, I'm listening to this person? Like, this person is telling me what to do? Like, what? Because we're all very imperfect, trust me.
Yeah.
And it's been a wild ride. It's been a very wild ride. And I know I'm kind of rambling.
No, I love it.
But yeah, I'm here.
I'm curious about what you had mentioned a few times, like this feeling that you knew, okay, this is not who I'm meant to be or what I'm meant to be. I know that I'm meant for more. And I'm curious what your beliefs on what that is, because I tend to attract these people who are like, I want more for my life than just like eat, sleep, shit, repeat. Like I want more out of it. And I'm so curious, just with your experience, like what do you think that is? I know you had mentioned they call it a spiritual awakening. I don't know if you think that it's a religious thing or like a DNA thing, or what do you think that feeling is inside of you?
I think the more for me is a life of happiness and of joy. And you know, I used to think I wanted a life of comfortability. I wanted to just be comfortable. I wanted to grow up, get a good job, get married, have kids, live a very normal life. And as I got clean and sober, I was like, that's not at all what I want. I'm sorry, but that sounds hell. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to wake up and go to work every day and that be all that it is. I want to travel the world. I want to meet people and have experiences, and I want to help people, and I want to be a light for people who need it and don't even really realize they need it. Because I'll be honest, if you had tried to come and help me during my darkest days, I would have told you to fuck off. Fuck all the way off. Who are you to tell me that? Like, I wouldn't have listened. And I feel like that's probably where most people stand, unless they're actually seeking help. But for me, I was raised in a Christian home. I don't love to say that I'm religious. I do think that there is a spiritual aspect to this life. I do think there is a greater being or a higher power. But I also believe in energy and the universe. And I believe that, you know, things just aren't coincidence. I believe that I didn't go through everything I've been through and got clean and sober just to live that normal, basic life. And I'm still figuring out exactly what that means for me. But I will say that running has opened up a door that it's almost like I've realized the possibilities are endless, and I didn't realize that before. You know, you're told that as a kid. You can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever. But until you actually realize that and see other people living out their dreams and having this life that they're obsessed with, you're like, holy shit, why don't I have that? What am I doing? And it's a wild realization, but I think that it is something that really kind of kicked my butt into gear. It actually, this time last year, me and my boyfriend went on a trip to Florida, and one of the things that we did was we went and swam with sharks out in the ocean.
That's the one thing that you will not catch me doing.
I wasn't even supposed to do it, I'll be honest. I was literally just going to ride on the boat and watch him do it. They literally take you on a boat 6 miles out, dump a bunch of chum in the water, and then you get in with the sharks, okay? And there's like 20. And they're wild animals. Like, this is not a SeaWorld experience. And when we got there, it was a woman who was my age. And she travels the world taking these dive trips. And she literally has dived with thousands of different animals. I mean, sharks, dolphins, otters, fish, whales, literally everything. And that's what she lives for. And she was so passionate about it. And I remember leaving that experience, which I loved. I'm a huge animal person, and it was amazing. I ended up being the last one to get out of the water. I recommend 10 out of 10, okay? It's not as scary as it sounds.
I can't even swim. I hyperventilate in the water.
Oh, yes, you told me that.
If I put my head in the water, I hyperventilate, so I can't imagine. I actually probably have a heart attack and die. So.
You can wear a life jacket.
I will go skydiving. I will go bungee jumping. I will do all of the crazy shit above the water, but in the water with sharks, fuck no. Catch me out.
I get that. And I would have, if you had asked me last year if I would ever do that, I would say hell no. When my boyfriend first brought it up, I was like, you're crazy. You're going to be in a cage, right? That's what you mean. And he was like, no, in the water with them. But seeing that and seeing the life that this woman had created for herself, and I guess I had never really seen that right in my face before. And it just shook me up, man. Like, I was immediately, and I hate to admit this, but I was jealous. I was like, how?
But you know what that means? That means that, like, I look at jealousy as a compass. Like, if you're jealous of something, you know, then you have this innate belief that it's meant for you. Maybe not her exact life, but something like that. Like, if you're jealous, you're not going to be jealous, right? If you don't want to be a race car driver, you're not going to be jealous of the race car driver. You're going to be jealous of the life that you fucking are meant to live. That's like that inner knowing of, like, you know what you're meant for. Your body, your brain, your soul, your everything. And it's like jealousy and envy is literally just a compass. That's the way that I look at it.
I actually love that. I've never really thought of it like that. And now I am like mind blown. Like I really, really love that. And yeah, that is exactly how I feel. Like, how my life has changed since that experience and the action that I have put into changing my life. I've left the South and I'm now living in Arizona, and I'm obviously running every day, which I was running every day then as well. But I was managing a gym, and I really did not know my next path forward. And I really didn't know what it was that I wanted to do. I spent some time fitness coaching because fitness really did change my life. But for me, I didn't have that passion in it that you have, you know, like it is so clear that you were meant to help people, and in that space and in that avenue. And for me, I didn't have that feeling. Mm-hmm. And I'm still trying to figure out what that is for me. Me and my boyfriend are actually in the process of setting up a nonprofit organization. So basically, we're going to sell screen printed merch, shirts, hats, bags, and donate 40% of the proceeds to people that are in recovery, that are fresh in recovery, and they either need help buying presents for their kids for Christmas, mm-hmm. getting a used car, paying their rent for a few months. Just people that are really trying to do the damn thing and are struggling. And we're going to have like an application process and have, I guess, content that shows us delivering upon these things, and where you really get to meet the people that your funds are going to. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's just the beginning of how I want to try to give back to a community that I really feel like has changed my life. And that is something that I'm truly passionate about. And I've always felt that my story and my experience can potentially inspire other people. And I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like and how I can exactly do that. But for me, that's kind of my more. I want to be this light for others. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Freaking love that. Send me the fucking link. I'll be your first customer.
So it's called Club Sozo. We chose the word sozo. My boyfriend actually has sozo tattooed across his knuckles. So the word sozo is a Greek word that means like in search of healing, spiritual deliverance, if you will. Mm-hmm. And the second I found out what it meant, I was like, okay, I'm obsessed. Mm-hmm. And when we started talking about a nonprofit, I was like, it has to be Sozo. We've kind of gone back and forth. Right now it's Club Sozo. And I've been learning how to screen print. I should have worn one of the shirts today, damn it. I didn't even think about that, but it is still very much in the growth phase. It is actually really difficult to start a nonprofit, and I actually met with a lawyer last week because I don't know the first thing about filing a 501(c) or C3 and getting a committee, and it's a lot, but I'm committed to it, and I don't really see anything else like that out there, and I feel like people in recovery don't. Starting your life over from scratch is really fucking hard, especially if you don't have a support system that wants to help you. And most people don't because they've burned a lot of bridges, and it takes years to mend things with family if they ever do. Yeah. And so if I could help one person with Sozo, I'd be happy. Yeah. Even if that means I make $5,000 a year and I live in a box, I can live with that. I could sleep at night. And I feel like there's a reason I didn't die. Mm-hmm. I've had so many people that I know and love that have passed away. And I'm not saying that, they weren't worthy of life or anything like that, because that couldn't be further from the truth. But I innately feel it almost on a physical level that there is so much more left to do. And so, yeah, I'm trying to help you're doing it, baby.
I sense it. I can literally feel it through the fucking computer screen, and I'm telling you, like, your personality and just you as a person, like, you are extremely magnetizing. You are extremely easy to listen to and, like, fun to be around. That I seriously, like, I see you on stages. I see you, even though that you're probably shitting your pants.
Yeah, I'm shitting my pants doing this right now. Are you kidding me? I'm in a room by myself.
But truly, I do. I see you making a huge, huge, huge impact. And that's kind of what I want to ask you, too, is, like, if the floodgates were open and, like, there were no boundaries, no fear, no anything, like, how would you want to make an impact on the recovery community? Like, what would that look like for you? Like, balls to the walls, like I said, wave a magic wand and have it happen and not have to, like, put all the work in or take the scary steps. But, like, what would that be?
I've got a million ideas, actually. I think there should be more taught in schools other than a DARE program, and I have no idea what that would look like, but I would have loved to have some kind of education other than don't do drugs, or this is what will happen. I feel like telling a child not to do something inherently makes them want to do it. Yep. And I feel like that is a route I would want to explore. I would love to open up my own recovery center where fitness and learning to really take care of yourself and figure out, like, have the opportunity to try new things and figure out what it is in this life that brings you joy. I feel like, you can be therapized to death, and I don't think that is bad or unnecessary. I think it's very much necessary to work through your trauma, but I think you get to a point where you're just complaining and there's not a lot of action being taken.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing the work, I guess, but what do you have to show for it?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you actually figuring out that's going to get you to your next step or your next phase in this life? Obviously, you want to accept what's happened to you, but then what? And I think that is a huge, like, missing piece to the puzzle. And I think it's a huge reason that people don't know how to integrate back into society and into life.
Yeah.
And I would love to make a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have retreats and even like workshops for people who are new in recovery. I had a sponsor in AA, but I didn't have someone in my corner who was telling me that, hey, it's going to be okay and you're going to get through this. Like, this is your next step. This is how we figure this out. And I would love to be able to give that to people. And of course, with Sozo, being able to financially help someone out, that is just such a huge stressor for people. You come out of rehab, most of the time you haven't been working, you don't have good work history, you've been to jail. It's hard to get a decent job, and especially in this day and this economy, it's hard enough to survive and pay your bills. Mm-hmm. But when you're completely rebuilding your life and starting from scratch, that's a whole different layer.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are a few things.
It's so interesting because everything that you said, I've had very similar thoughts. Just from, it's a different niche and a different realm of life, but eating disorders are another huge issue that especially so many young females go through. And so even I talk about that all the time. Like, there should be some sort of program outside of just your basic nutrition training, like within late high school, early college. Like, there needs to be at least a warning of like, hey, these are some of the experiences that you may experience. Like, this is what a healthy relationship to food is. This is what a healthy relationship to food isn't. Having like even recovery centers where again you're integrating a healthier side of life and a healthier relationship with it. So it's funny how it's all so intertwined, and it really, it comes back to it's an addiction, like an eating disorder, same thing. You're addicted to the high of the control that you're getting. So yeah, I love that. I'm curious so this, like, I know you said that you went on that, was it a trip to Florida about a year ago? Mm-hmm. And ever since, you've kind of been dabbling more in the scary things. And I'm curious how you handle that fear, because I think that that's what holds so many people back from living the lives that they truly feel aligned in and truly love. And so I'm curious, from your standpoint, how do you handle that fear? How do you move through it? Like, does that ever trigger you into, any of the uncomfortable feelings that you felt in the past?
Yeah. To be honest, I wish I could say, meditation and breath work and all of these things are what got me through it. But really, Summer, I just started doing shit scared. Mm-hmm. I literally just started, like, I was always such a scaredy cat as a child. Like, I tried to have this big, loud personality, but really inside, I'm scared shitless. I'm worried about what you're thinking about me. I was so insecure, so just like a ball of anxiety. Literally, I still am. But I guess through that experience and with the whole shark thing, I was so scared. I'm seeing Jaws, I love the water. I love animals, but I'm not trying to die. I'm not trying to get my arm removed by a big animal. And I just jumped in and I just did it scared. I wish I had some crazy motivational thing and I'm like, do this, this, and this, because that would be amazing. But for me, I kind of talk myself through things, and I try not to make them a big deal in my head. So, like, for example, the shark thing, I just jumped in the water and I was just like, hey, I'm just swimming. It's okay. Like, I literally like looked down in the water with my goggles on. I could see the sharks under me. And I was like, it's okay. They're just big dogs. And I have to talk myself through things, sometimes even out loud. It's embarrassing. Like, in public, I'm talking myself through things. If you pass me when I'm on a run and I'm having a full conversation, don't mind me, okay? I'm in my own zone and I'm getting through it in my way. But really, like, talking myself through it and breaking it down into something small, or even with my big runs, I think of it as a mile at a time or 10 minutes at a time. In my head, I know I can do anything for 10 minutes. If you were sitting here sawing my finger off, I could somehow justify it that, hey, I'm going to survive. This is going to be a shitty 10 minutes, but at the end of the day, it is 10 fucking minutes. You're going to survive. You're going to be okay. And I've had to just really integrate that into every part of life. I just started a new job a few weeks ago, and the workload is more than anything I've ever done. And every day I have to sit down at my computer and I'm like, okay, for 10 minutes, we're going to get as much as we can done. We're going to do it right. And we're just going to breathe. And that works for me. If I break it into a more digestible thing, it makes it not as scary. And it makes it just more manageable for me. Do I think that would work for everyone? Probably not. I've realized how corny and silly that sounds.
No, it's truly, I mean, it's one of the basics. It's truly just reverting back to the basic of breaking things down rather than overcomplicating it and slapping. That was like the perfect answer.
Really? Okay. Good. Because I wish I could say, meditating 30 minutes a day has changed my life, which it has helped, I will say. It has helped a bit, but I'm still terrified in here. I'm still like, it's just, you just do shit scared. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah,
basically.
Really. I'm curious, out of even recovery, what were some of your biggest takeaways or things that you learned throughout that process? Or were there any actual tools that you did learn besides just doing it scared? Like, was there anything that you really, really took away from that experience?
Yeah, for sure. So I learned so much about myself. Like I said, when I first got clean and sober, I knew my name, I knew how old I was, and I knew where I was from. Other than that, I knew I liked getting fucked up. I didn't really know what brought me joy. Like, do I like hiking? Do I like kayaking? Do I want to write a book one day or be a lawyer? I really had no idea. And the vastness of that unknown and having your whole life ahead of you, and you've wasted so much time, and that is just an overwhelming feeling. And for me, in the beginning, meditation really did help me. I'm very much someone, if you can't tell, who's very high strung, and I'm a million miles a minute. And my mind, if what's coming out of my mouth seems like that, you should see the browsers in my brain, okay? Because there's about 50 open. They're all loading. It's scary. And they're all just popping up like porno pop-ups, okay? Like, it's pitiful. But for me, like, meditating was a way for me to really calm down. Another thing that really helped me, I think, was prayer. I was raised in a Christian home, very religious. My dad was my youth pastor. He would preach at other churches. Very much a Christian home. And I don't have anything against that. But being raised in the church, you see all the things that go on behind the scenes. You see how imperfect humans can be. That are representing this thing, and very judgmental and, all the things. I'm sure anyone that has grown up in church can see where I'm coming from there. And so through my adulthood, I really just, I don't want to say I was atheist, but I just thought it was all a crock of shit. I thought everyone was just so fake and this can't be real and da 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 da. And when I got clean and sober, part of being in AA or NA or any kind of program is you are basically like relinquishing your fears, your worries to a higher power. That higher power does not have to be God, Jesus, Muhammad, whoever. It can be the door on the other side of the room. It can be your ex-boyfriend. It can be your dog. And really, for me, it was just this like sun. In my mind, it's just a big ball of light. And it felt warm and happy to me to even think about. And I started praying every morning and every night, just help me get through this day. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know who I am. Like, just help me get through another day and I'll be one step closer to it. And it's crazy because things just started happening for me. And it can be little things or big things. I didn't have a place to live. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a job. I hadn't been able to keep a job for years. I've been fired for everything. Literally everything. My job history is ridiculous. I couldn't even keep a job as a hostess at a restaurant. And not even a cool restaurant, like a shitty diner restaurant. I don't even think McDonald's would have taken me. And I was able to find a job. After 2 years, I was able to get a car and stop riding the bus, which that was horrible. I was able to get a place to live. People were brought into my life that I truly needed, and I didn't realize it at the time, but all of these small miracles started happening, and it just kind of proved to me that, hey, something is happening here. Something is working. I no longer feel like everything is against me, and I feel like something's working in my favor. And to me, in my mind, every day I would just be like, okay, what is the next right thing to do here? I don't have a job. I'm going to get kicked out of this rehab soon. Where is my next step? And I literally just took it day by day and step by step. And very similar to what I was talking about earlier, just breaking it down into smaller digestible things. That is a tool that I carry with me every single day. Beyond that, I think really taking a pause for me was something huge. I'm really bad about interrupting people. I'm really bad about leading with my feelings and just not even thinking, just like, that pisses me off, rah, 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 or whatever. And really just taking a pause and becoming more aware of how something makes me feel. And then just, accepting it. Like, yeah, what she said sucked. That hurt my feelings. But by me being a fucking bitch back to her, like, what is that? What is that getting me? That's making me angry, and that's disturbing my peace, my serenity. And that takes a lot of fucking practice. I'm still practicing. Very much so.
Me too. Me too, babe. Me too. Okay, I love it. What is I'm curious, what is the pressure like? I know that you've mentioned this a few times, but the pressure to make up for years that you missed out on. Like, it was 10 years of your life, right, where you're doing this. So what does that feel like, and what is that like? And like, give me the inside of your brain with that.
No, totally. That was really something that I struggled very much so with. I feel like I had wasted so much time. And I remember getting on Facebook and seeing all of these people I went to high school with, who I don't talk to. I didn't really even talk to them then. But they have families and they have jobs and they're not in rehab and they have a car. Like, holy shit, they have a fucking car, Christina. You can't even keep it together to get one of those. Like, they have a place to live. Like, even those little things were so big to me at the time. And I carried a lot of guilt and shame about that. I was very like upset with myself about it. And I didn't know really how to forgive myself for it. Through the years in recovery, I have come to find out that I needed all of that. I would not be where I am today had I missed a second of that.
Yep.
And that is so inherently clear now. But of course, I did not think that. And for me, I really had to subscribe to the belief that I am right where I need to be. In this moment right now, this moment is meant for me. And there is no other path I could have taken and not ended up in this moment. And it's not a coincidence. It's not, the millionth reality option, whatever the case may be, I really had to ingrain that in my brain. And for me to ingrain something like that and unlearn things, I'm literally having to repeat things to myself every day. For a while, I would wake up and I would say, you are a miracle, in the mirror every day. Sometimes I would be like, yeah, fucking miracle you are, bitch. Like, what? It sounds so fucking cheesy. I know it sounds insane. Trust me, I feel insane. But I started to believe it. And now you could not convince me otherwise. I am more than a miracle. Mm-hmm. And, I think there is a level of delusion that I think all successful, happy people who have and choose to challenge themselves on a regular basis, you have to have some level of self-delusion. Yep. And I would rather be Delulu than just a basic bitch. I really would choose that a million times over.
I freaking love that. I think it's so important for people to hear everything that you're saying, where it's like you had to go through everything that you did, even the people listening, even if it's not like they went through a drug or alcohol addiction, even if it's just, again, myself. I think of myself for 5 years of my life. I was just fucking around being the, again, not emotional intelligent person that I am today.
We would have been friends, I think.
Just absolutely raw dogging life. And it's like, okay, you can look back and be like, wow, I really pissed those years away, or I could be so much further along than I am now. Or you can look at it in a positive light and be like, you know what, that experience and everything that I've gone through has made me into the person that I am today. And I was actually just having this conversation with one of my clients yesterday. She's like, why is it that some of us have to work so fucking hard just to survive and just to be happy and just to be here? And I always talk about it, I feel like my life I've been clawing and scraping and just trying to fucking make it day by day and be positive and be happy and do all the things. And she was relating to that, and she's like, why is that? And I'm like, well, you can look at other people who maybe are inherently just happy and positive and have things going for them and sit and be jealous and wish, right? Oh my gosh, I wish I was raised like that. I wish that I had parents that handled their emotions correctly. But it's that does us no fucking good, because we just didn't. We were dealt the cards that we were dealt, and you can either just accept it and again look at it from this positive light of you know what, the ones who are sitting and clawing and scraping and making it through this shit, we're the tough ones. We're the ones that are going to come out the other side 10 times, 20 times, 100 times tougher because of it. And so it's flipping it into this positive experience rather than this thing that keeps us held down and keeps us, staying negative forever.
I agree 1,000%. I think your mindset and your lens, your perspective literally is everything. And for me, I try to look at everything through a lens of gratitude. Even the bad things that happen here in the present day, even the setbacks I have, I still can find a way to spin it to where I will be grateful for that thing happening. Mm-hmm. If you don't know, you being stuck in traffic and being late for work today could have saved your ass from a car wreck. Mm-hmm. It could have saved you from running over a dog. It could have, you just don't know. And I think that being able to shift your perspective and that state of mind is a superpower. And it's something that does not come naturally or normal. I didn't for me. Maybe some people are just born with it, you know? I mean, maybe.
No, my boyfriend's one of them who literally was just born into it and like was raised.
Really?
Raised in a perfectly emotionally stable family and just was perfect. And I'm like, okay.
Like things just work out for them. My boyfriend is very much like that. I swear some people have this like amazing luck. I don't even like using the word luck because I don't like that, but it's like there's something working for them that does not work for other people. He even has said that to me multiple times. He's like, things are just really hard for you. Like you really have had to struggle and things just don't come easy. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Please tell me. I will fix it. Like, guru, help your girl out, please. Like, please tell me what it is. And he was like, I don't even think it's you. It's just the cards you're dealt. It's just the path you are meant for. Yeah. And it's disheartening. Like, I'm not even going to sit and pretend like that doesn't like break my heart at times. And I don't sit and cry like a baby. Like, I would love to sit here and lie and say, you know, this whole thing has made me so strong and I can do anything. Like, I believe that. But the process of getting to that anything and doing all the things, it is not easy. It is fought day in and day out. And just like you said, the people who are able to shift their mind out of that are going to win 100 times over. They're going to keep coming back. It's going to keep like, it's almost like, oh, you think this is going to break me? You think this is the thing? This ain't the thing. The thing was 10 times ago and I'm here. Like, what else you got? This ain't shitty enough.
I say that all the time. I'm like, fucking give it to me, life. Give it to me. Test
please.
Me.
Please. I'm not drowning yet, okay?
Okay, so let's switch to running. What the fuck got you into running when this like 644 days straight? What's the story behind it?
Yeah, so when I got clean and sober, I literally went from like barely eating anything, and if I did eat, it was usually sweets and sugar, because when you're coming down off opiates, your body is just looking for any little source of serotonin because it's in the negative, like thousands. And like I said earlier, I did not even know what like health looked like. Both of my parents are overweight. I didn't grow up eating healthy meals. Like, I just had no real information or education on that. And when I gained weight, I really, for a while, just thought, you know, this is just my body type. Like, I'm big boned. Like, both my parents are overweight. Like, this is just how I'm going to be. And I started waiting tables at a restaurant. And I'm 30 at this point, and I'm working with all of these like really cute, young, high school, college age girls that are all like very small, very slender, very beautiful. And it just dawned on me one day that like, hey, they're probably not going to look like this when they're 30. And it's because they're doing something about it. Like, you're just sitting here, like, sad, I'm fat, I'm sad, I don't like the way that I look. Very much in that complaining mindset. No action, no nothing. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. So I bought this booty builder program. It was $50. I think it's Mr. Booty. I'm not even sure. Booty King. That's what it is.
Oh, that sounds lit.
You can actually check him out on Instagram. He gets great results. Anyways, you get a whole 6 week of workouts, and it's full body, but of course you're wanting to get a nice ass. And it comes with a nutrition plan, which is really just like a list of foods you can eat. There's a protein section, a carb section, and a fat section. Very bare bones minimum. It was $50, you guys, okay? No coaching. Here's a list. Here's some videos. Have at it. Good luck, girl. I had no idea what I was doing. And to be perfectly honest with you, I started just going to the gym and trying it out. About a month into this, I went to the doctor and got some blood work done. Just curious, my dad's diabetic, and it came back that I was pre-diabetic. My A1C was a 5.6, right on the line of being diabetic. He told me I'd be full-blown, need insulin within a year, 2 years. And that scared the shit out of me. And I'm a person who loves sugar. And I was like, I cannot live like that. I cannot do sugar-free. I would rather have it sometimes than absolutely never. And that really, really got under my skin, because I was like, I am not going to end up like my parents. I will do whatever it takes. And so I started going to the gym. I started walking 10,000 steps a day. That was a goal of mine. And it's crazy because at that time I was maybe getting in 3,000 on a busy day, which is so crazy to me, because now I'm 20K and up. I've had days with 50K. I mean, with the running I'm doing, it's kind of different, but now I can't even imagine a day that I only take 2,000 steps. I'm in bed, I must have just ran 50 miles. That's the only excuse. And that alone, I really noticed a huge difference in. Just working out 3-4 times a week and walking really just changed my whole view on fitness. And I just really loved it. Just the thought of putting myself through something that was difficult every day, even for just a little bit, something I could control too. Mm-hmm. It helped me, and it gave me some structure in my day. I knew I was going to go to the gym because I very quickly started going every day. Mm-hmm. But I still, cardio freaked me out. I would jump rope every now and then, but you weren't going to catch me running. Mm-hmm. And one day we were literally, me and my boyfriend were just sitting at home watching TV, and this YouTube video came up of Courtney DeWalter running an ultra marathon. And I was like, wait a second, what is this? He was going to skip through it. And I was like, wait a second, what are we doing here? This is crazy. And so it's literally just it just follows her through one of her races. I mean, she does these almost every weekend for funsies. It's just what she does. And the whole time she had this crazy smile on her face. And she's limping through the last 20 miles, okay? But she never once complained. She was just resilient. And I was just infatuated, I guess. I just thought, this is the most badass woman I have ever seen. She just did this, and she does it in 16 hours, and up mountains. I mean, 40,000 feet. It's absurd. And I hope to be a third or a fourth of what she's accomplished. But that really inspired me. And it just so happens that my boyfriend had signed up for a 10K, like a New Year's Day 10K. He used to run a little bit with his family back in the day. And that was my first experience at a race. I just went and watched him. And it was New Year's Day in North Carolina. It was freezing. I don't like the cold at all. I don't know how he was doing it. And it was 6 miles. And at the time, I was like, that's a lot, dude. Like, up 1 mile? Like, that's a lot. But 6? And after watching that race and just seeing the crowd, if you've ever been to a race, it's a different thing. It's like a music festival for healthy people. And there's no, like, band or artists, just speakers, you know? But it's this energy and this excitement, and you're doing something healthy. So literally a week after he did this race, I was just tossing it around in my head. I was like, you know, I think I'm going to try this out. And I literally went to the park and I ran a mile. And at the end of the mile, and I'm like maybe hitting a 15-minute mile here, and I'm miserable. I'm dying. I can't breathe. It was rough, girl. I mean, I'm panting like a dog. And I'm sweating but freezing at the same time. So I'm literally like, that is something that still to this day bothers me. I think I literally have PTSD from drug withdrawals. Mm-hmm. So if I start sweating while it's cold, I will literally like just dissolve into a puddle. Like, I'm just so uncomfortable. But I literally, at the end of my run, I grabbed my phone and I got on Instagram and I made a story. And I was just pumped up. I did something that I said I was going to do, you know? And I was excited. And I was like, hey, you guys, I've decided I'm going to run every single day up until I run a 100-mile ultra marathon. And I posted it. And immediately, within an hour, I'm like, what? What did you just announce to the fucking world you're going to do? And I immediately regretted it. I'll just be like honest. Like, you've ran like this. You know that you have these thoughts, okay? You are in the moment and you think you're Superman.
Literally, yes.
Like, I can do anything. I can go pick up that car and throw it down the road and I'm gonna love it. Yes. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I started running every day. A week into it, I missed a day, and that pissed me the fuck off. I was so mad at myself. I was like, you announced to the world you were going to do something and you literally couldn't stick to it for more than 7 days. Mm-hmm. Like, you're a pussy. Like, I literally, like, sometimes that is what I need. Yep. Yep. I am very much like, I have a David Goggins in my brain. Okay. Yep. And it's, you're being a little bitch right now. Like, are you 12? Like, and I know that for some people that does not help and that does not work. And I'm not saying that it will. But for me, sometimes that's what I need. Yep. I need like a wake up call. Yep. And so that kind of lit a fire under me. And so I was like, no, I'm actually going to fucking do this. And that was January 17th of 2023. So February, I ran my first 5K race, which is only 3 miles, and it was horrible, but I did it. In May, I ran a 10K, in the rain. That was fun. Then in July, I did a 16-mile race. I skipped half marathon and went straight to the 16. I ended up running a half later, but that's besides the point. And then in September, I ran a full marathon, and that was just very difficult. At the time, literally 2 days before the race, I had gotten a filling, and I woke up, my mouth was just huge, swollen. If you go on my Instagram, I literally posted videos of the whole experience, and I look like a chipmunk. I'm literally running and talking, and I'm like, I'm so proud of myself for being out here. Like, I'm a badass. And in that moment, I really did feel like I was.
Yeah.
But I'm like running with ice on my face. I'm stopping to take Tylenol and naproxen every like 5 miles. It was miserable. But it was just another thing that I was able to put in that like resiliency piggy bank. Like, I did that. I fucking did that. Most people would have said, fuck my training. This came up. I'm not going to do it. And I didn't. I didn't fold. And then since then, I ran a 12-hour timed race, which you just trying to get as many miles as you can in. And I got 40 miles in 12 hours. I just did that one in June. I had originally planned to run my 100-miler this past April. But we ended up moving in January to Pennsylvania, and then literally a few weeks later got this opportunity in Arizona. And because of that, I wasn't able to train how I wanted to. And I wanted to make sure that I was prepared. Running a marathon and running 100 miles are two very different things. And I wanted to make sure I had the time that I think I need. Who knows? We'll see. Anyways, I'm running my 100-miler next month in November. And I'll be honest, I'm 110% winging it. I am raw dogging this training. I am raw dogging my nutrition. I really don't know what's going to happen. I have never ran more than 40 miles in one sitting, or one standing, I guess. And I'll be honest, I'm terrified. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm not scared. Like, it's fucking scary. Everything I've seen, like, you start hallucinating at some point. Yeah. I don't plan on, like, laying down to sleep. I'll get 48 hours to run, but I'm afraid if I lay down, it'll just be too difficult to get back up and start going again.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how I got here, with just like this silly little post. And honestly, it sounds so vain and stupid, but me posting my runs every day to Instagram is like a motivator for me. Yeah. I can guarantee that if I was not posting every day, I wouldn't be 640 something days in right now.
Yeah.
And I hate to admit that, but it's the honest to God truth. I don't want to do what?
There is truth to that, though, because even I think about all of the things, even weightlifting. Like, I literally look forward to taking a picture or a video or anything and posting it, truly in hopes of like inspiring someone to show the fuck up. And it's like this sense of accountability and this sense of pride in yourself and like being able to share it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and that's actually very eye-opening. Like, even for anybody listening, like, if you struggle with consistency and actually showing up, like, maybe that's a step that you should take, is putting something on social media and challenging yourself to something and letting that be kind of your why. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
For me, I think it has helped me tenfold.
Yeah.
For me to post that video 7 days in, and I literally like did a voiceover, and I was like, I am having to start over at day one. And I was just so embarrassed that I had to admit defeat publicly, even though it had been 7 days. And like, to be honest, like, who the fuck is watching? Like, come on, Christina. No one is like, oh my God, Christina, what is she doing today? Like, no, that's not real. That's not happening. Come on. But for me, just the thought of like one person like seeing it and thinking like, what is she doing? Or like, why is she doing this? I was like, okay, I'll be that girl. I'm okay with being that. And now it has become this huge thing, at least in my life. And it's just what I do now. Literally, it's just a run I do every single day. And at this point, you know, my goal was always, I'm going to run a minimum of a mile every day until I run my 100-mile race. My 100-mile race is next month, and that's a question I get. Are you still going to run afterwards? Like, what are you going to do about your streak? And at this point, I don't think I can stop. Like, it's almost like okay, how far can I go? Like, can I run for 10 years straight every single day? Is that insane? Yes, that's insane. That is definitely crazy. But could I do it? Yeah, probably. As long as I don't get injured or hospitalized, I don't understand why I couldn't. And even then, bring me a fucking treadmill. Like, I will hobble. I will crawl. Like, it's just like it is ingrained in my DNA almost at this point. Yeah. And it's just a like little chance for me to prove to myself I can hold myself accountable. I can stay consistent. I can be that badass that I've always wanted to be, that I always tried to be, pretended to be. For some reason in my head, I've always had this like picture of this woman who's just a badass. You know, nothing phases her, there's nothing she can't do. And I guess I've always kind of like wanted to be that in a way. And I will say I never saw what I'm doing now as who I would be and what I would be doing. But it still just surprises me how far that I've come. And with running, it's opened a lot of doors for me. It's opened a lot of opportunities. I'm a sponsored athlete. I get to go to all of these amazing places and run, and I get free merch and equipment and gels, and I would have never believed you literally a year ago if you told me a company would be sending me free shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just a normal bitch. Like, and even then, like, I'm not super fast. I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying to do it and prove that literally anyone can do it. I hadn't ran since high school PE. Mm-hmm. And even then, I walked most of it. Come on. Like, come on. I was the one who had to redo the mile because I didn't finish at the time. Okay? I was walking and talking. Surprise.
That's so cool because it's truly giving your brain proof of being badass, of being capable of, and I'm sure it floods into other areas of your life too. I mean, it's such a huge confidence builder to say that you're going to do something and actually fucking follow through with it. And I'm curious, like, is there anything that you've learned about yourself or that the journey of running every day has taught you or given you besides obviously just discipline?
Yeah, it has given me so much confidence. Even through like my weight loss journey and actually like getting fit and like learning how to eat healthy and live a healthier lifestyle, I still would pick myself apart. You know, I think as women, we're really bad about that. We're really bad about comparing ourselves, especially now, to everyone that we see on the internet. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like running has given me something. It's like it's given me this worthiness in my head. And admitting that, you know, breaks my heart a little bit because it's like you were worthy before you started running. Like, mm-hmm. Running has not added anything to your worth. But for me, it's like this sense of confidence in who I am. It has almost just become a part of me. Running for me is meditative. Mm-hmm. You get in this state of like physical and mental connection that you get when you're in the gym, but there's just something about running that's a little bit different for me. And it is a state where I don't have to worry about anything else. I don't have to really think about anything else. I can just be. And that alone, that stillness in my mind has done wonders for me. But also just being able to prove to myself that I can do it and I'm capable and I can do hard shit. Like I'm planning on doing the Cocodona race after this. I probably won't do it in 2025. It'll probably be 26. That's 250 miles over 5 days in Arizona in May. It's crazy. It's insane. Like, it's insane. Like, I don't even know what to think about that. But it's like another thing for me, adding into that confidence piggy bank. Yeah. I never really had consistency and accountability in my life. Mm-hmm. And I never really was able to trust myself and do what I say I'm going to do. Like, I can sit here and say, hey, I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. tomorrow and go run. But am I actually going to do it? Yeah, now I am, because I know what it's like to not do it. And I would rather get up and be tired and be irritated than be pissed the rest of my day because I didn't do the damn thing I said I was going to do. And I feel like over time, it compounds. And you begin to be like, okay, I can trust myself. I said I'm going to eat this for dinner because this is what I need to do for my training. And I'm going to do it. And I don't have to worry, where I used to be just very impulsive. And I would just be like, no, fuck that. No, like, I'm doing what I want. It's my life. Blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And it became more about like, okay, how do we take care of ourselves? And running has been a big part of that for me. I didn't really know how to take care of myself. I really didn't understand the meaning of self-care. And it's not just like face masks and putting your heatless hair curlers in and all of these things that you see on social media, you know, self-care Sunday and these routines. It's more about like, what do I need to be okay in here and in here?
Oh, that's like, so fucking true. So
yeah.
Fucking true. I've never heard anything more true in my life.
So yeah, go run. Maybe it'll give that to you. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I don't think it did for you. No. I think you're like, give me back my weights. Give me back my muscles, please. Yesterday.
But it is. It's going to be different for everybody. I will say there's a difference between running and weightlifting and the feeling. It's like with running, it's you versus you. Like, you are out there, you are by yourself, you're in your own fucking head. Like, you need to use yourself as motivation versus I find in the weight section, I love working out in a packed gym. I love like being the fucking jacked girl in the middle of the weight section where it's like 95% guys. Like, I love, that's like my high, is like, I'm that bitch, like, I'm that badass. I'm not looking at yourself in the mirror like with the like, that's my euphoria, you know. Like, that.
No, I totally get that. That's literally like me running by a glass building or something. And I'm just like, who is that bitch? Like, yes, give me her. Yes.
No, so yeah, I think it's different for everybody, like what gives you that high, but I definitely agree that there's something to it, and you just need to figure out what that is for you. And I also, like, I'm a huge believer in, again, like, it's not a bad thing to, like, again, you holding yourself accountable on Instagram and like having other people or like show off, like, fuck yes, show off. Like, if that is what your brain is wired for, instead of trying to sit and like fight against it. I got kind of weird about it and like thought too deep about it, and I'm like, is this vain of me? Like, is this wrong of me? Like, should I be using something different as a motivator? But it's like, fucking A, it's the way that my brain is wired.
If
so
it
why
works,
not? Yup. Why
it
not
works.
just work with it instead of trying to work against it? So it's figure out what that driver is for you. If that's wearing your cute little fucking booty shorts in the gym and flexing in the mirror, then that's that. Like, so fucking be it.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. And I think it takes some trial and error to figure it out, you know, and you have to not be afraid to lean in and be a beginner. I feel like that is something that holds people back. Like, I don't want to embarrass myself, or I don't want to suck. I don't want to like push through that phase where I'm still trying to figure it out. I feel like for me, especially when I first started getting into fitness, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I look like an idiot in here. I literally did not know how to squat correctly. I could not do it without my heels lifting up. I had to practice how to squat somewhere.
Yeah.
And that like hurt me to my core. That is when I really realized, like, yo, you're not flexible, honey. You can't, like, you're lucky you can bend over without getting a crick in your back. Like, we've got some issues here. And I think that notion, like, keeps people from trying new things and figuring out what works for them and what doesn't. It's that fear of being bad at it, of someone thinking you're bad at it. Who the fuck cares? I am no pro at running, and I don't try to be. I can't tell you what causes you to get shin splints. I can't tell you, hey, you should eat this and do that. I don't know. I know what works for me, and I have found that out from doing all the other wrong things and sucking ass at it. I still suck at it. I don't think I'd ever be good. I know I won't ever be fast. And I've accepted that. It gives me what I need, and I'm good with it.
Period. Fucking love it. How would you describe the high of drugs compared to a good workout? Or even, right, like, people listening, maybe they don't have the experience of drugs or even alcohol, but I group it all in, like social media, TV, porn, like all of the instant gratification, you know,
For sure.
hits of a high compared to working out or running and building that discipline. Like, how would you decipher the two, or what would you say the biggest differences are between them? And clearly running has has taken the cake. So, like, why?
Yes.
and how?
So for me, of course, it is running, and they're two extremely different things. Like I said at the beginning, it's like the merry-go-round versus a roller coaster. But for me, the main difference is one of them, the healthier option, obviously, is this like true, I don't even know like what to call it, because euphoric doesn't really give it to me the way I'm trying to express it. But it is like this true and this natural feeling that no drug can replicate. Like, yes, drugs are going to get you fucked up and inebriated in a totally different way and a different extent. But for me, running, it's like this insane awareness of life and connectedness and joy and just being alive. It's like taking a breath for the first time. I literally, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a feeling like if you saved someone's life. I feel like that's almost how it feels. It's just like obviously you get a rush of serotonin when you accomplish something, right? Like all our lives, we're told that, you know, when you get a trophy or win a soccer game or whatever, get a good grade, that feels good. But when it's something physical and it's something that only you did, it's a feeling unlike anything else. It's literally, you just feel, I feel more alive. And I wish I had a better way to describe it. I'm definitely no wordsmith, but I would take it over drugs any day. It's like the real thing versus the generic, or the name brand versus the like shitty Walmart brand, whatever the case may be. For me, it's like, it's just day and night. It's such a huge difference. And one feels very natural, like it was intended to be there, and the other feels like almost animalistic in a negative way. And it's even in the moment you're like, oh, I don't know if I even like this. Part of me doesn't like this. And working out, that's never crossed my mind. Maybe while working out, I'm like, yeah, this is heavy. I don't feel like doing this. Or I'm running too fast. I can't breathe. But never does it really cross my mind that this is wrong of me, or that this is a feeling that I don't like. I know I'm going to get through it, and I know at the end of it, it's going to feel great. And it's like a stress reliever for me almost. Like, I'm sure when you go to the gym, you just feel better. Your day is better. Like, if I haven't missed a run, but I have missed going to the gym because I've chosen to run instead. And if I start my day and I don't go to the gym, I feel it for the rest of the day. It affects me. I feel differently. I'm in a shitty mood. My appetite is off. I'm just not with it. And it's indescribable. It really is. And once you find your thing, the thing that works for you, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I really wouldn't. And I just really hope that everyone gets to find their thing, whatever it may be.
And it's almost something too that might not feel when you first start, right? Like, I'm thinking about when you first started running.
Oh, it was horrible. It did not feel like it was going to be my thing. I really wouldn't have believed you if you told me.
Or like you head into the weight section and, you know, you're overweight and you're trying to lose the weight, but you have to almost rely not on this like good feeling that we're talking about right away. That's where you really have to rely on discipline. You have to give it time, because there's a certain like threshold that you hit. And once you hit that, there's no fucking going back. Just like you said, there's no chance that I ever want to give away the feeling that I feel in the weight section. Like, no, like I will never ever stop. You ain't ever gonna stop me. Which I'm sure you feel with running, but it's like you
of course
you almost have to have this time period where you have to raw dog it, and you have to work your way up, and you have to, again, like whether that is a weight loss journey, once you hit that point of like, whoa, I have made some freaking progress here, and you start to like actually look different and view yourself differently. Like, you hit that high, you have that one moment and that one gym session or that one run where you get that feeling and you're addicted to it, and it's like, I'm never quitting.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. And I think going through like the suck of it all makes it that much better.
Yeah.
I think if you just went in and instantly loved it, like it wouldn't feel real and authentic to me, you know? Like I think you have to go through that building and that like struggle, and really just with life and with my entire story, you know, during all of it, I could not see how this was going to help me. I could not see how like putting myself in pain was going to help me. But it has, and there's no doubt about that. I had to go through that. And I think it's the same with any kind of physical endeavor, anything related to fitness. If it doesn't suck in the beginning, you're not doing it right. Like, I don't think you're doing enough. Or that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. Even, I'm just trying to think about it, because, like, clearly with drugs and alcohol and social media and all of those, like, it's easy, you know, like, we get that short-term high, like, it's the easiest option, and so I think that's what makes the exercise, the running, the weightlifting, it gives you that long-term high because of the suck, because of the, and that could be on a daily basis, even just getting yourself to do the run, getting yourself, even though I love weightlifting, it's my favorite thing ever, that doesn't mean that on my way there, I'm not like, I don't want to be doing this. There could be multiple other things that I could be spending my time. But it's like, you go through the suck, you go through the lead up. I say that all the time. I'm like, probably 70% of my weightlifting sessions don't necessarily feel like the best thing ever, but I do it because of the 30% where it's like, oh, this is why I do this. And it's like that, like, the suck is the reasoning as to why it feels so good in the long term, because you're going through this process of, again, like, following through with the thing that you say you're going to do and doing the hard thing, like putting the resistance on yourself. And in doing so, then at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of your life, you look back and you're like, damn, I really, like, I put in the reps, I did the thing. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And I mean, just like you said, I have at least a few days a week where I'm like, I don't want to run right now. I don't have time for this. Why am I doing this? And I think you have to constantly remind yourself of the why of it all, especially in that period where you're not seeing the results immediately and you're not getting faster or getting better. It doesn't feel any better. It still feels really heavy. It still feels really hard. Nothing's changing. I'm still hating it. You have to push through that. And just like you said, drugs, alcohol, it's all the easy choice. Nothing worth having comes easy. I know that is the most cliche thing ever, but it's so fucking true. It really is. And everything good in my life has been hard to achieve. Everything that is working out in the right way has been hard to get here. And if it hasn't, is it important? Is it even something that I'm excited about? I feel like now for me, I think people look at that end result and they forget the journey and what it takes to get there. And for me, it's about enjoying the damn journey, enjoying the fucking suck of it all, because this suck of it all is making me stronger, making me better, and it ultimately is going to lead me to my fucking goal. Like, if I can't get through the suck of the gym or my run, what am I going to do when some real shit in life happens? What am I going to do when my parents pass away? Or God forbid, my poor dog dies? You know, like, I feel like all of these things, these challenges that we put ourselves through, they're not just for confidence and proving that we can, you know? I feel like it is also like preparing us for things that are going to happen. Life sucks, dude. Life is fucking hard. I don't think anyone who is going to be listening to this has not just struggled massively in some area or 10 areas of their lives. And I think it builds character and it makes you who you fucking are. If you are not challenging yourself and seeking out something difficult, what are you fucking doing? Are you a person? Like, are you trying to live a life of just boredom and just mundane? Like, That sounds so awful to me. And maybe, I'm sure running 100 miles and like all of this shit sounds awful to other people. I get that, to most people, but I don't think I could like live without it. I think I will always be seeking a challenge. I will always be trying new things. I will always be putting myself in scary and uncomfortable situations and saying, let's see what happens, bitch.
Yeah.
See how you do.
Fucking love it.
Perform.
What's your next big scary endeavor? Anything on the list?
So after my 100 miler, it'll be the 250, I think. I think that, one, I'm going to continue my run streak. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm going to see how my 100 goes. As long as I don't end up in the hospital or with like a broken bone or something really like horrible happening, I really think I'm going to at least attempt the 250. There are, so for this race, I picked a very easy 100 miler. I guess I can say easy. Some of them are, out in the middle of the woods and you have to navigate yourself and they're up and down mountains. This one is at a park. It's literally on a course that's paved. There's aid stations. You get 48 hours to do it. We also will have like a tent set up. And it's easier, I guess. Cocodona is different. You have to make it to each section in a certain amount of time or you're disqualified, or they call it DNF, do not finish. Mm-hmm. And it is through the woods. You're basically going to be running from somewhere in Sedona to Flagstaff, which is up and down mountains. I think the elevation gain total is like climbing Mount Everest twice. And I think you get like 5 to 6 days to do it. I volunteered there in May last year, and oh, dude, it was sick. It was insane. I was like, yep, this is it. This is me. I'm here. Yes, let's go. Can I start running now? Can I just join in?
How do you train for something like that? Do you even?
For me, it's about keeping myself in motion and getting my body used to being constantly moving.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm winging it. I'm totally winging it. I wish I could say do this, this, and this. Yeah. I haven't figured it out yet. But for me, it's running every day and it's slowly like ramping up my mileage.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a month in or a month away from my race, I'm not going to do anything too large just because I don't want to injure myself and I don't have time to recover from anything too large. I want to be a spring fucking chicken as much as I can be. So the most I will do right now would be 20 miles at a time. And I'm doing a lot of like intervals, I guess, where I'm going to be like, I'll walk a certain amount of time. I'll run a certain amount of time. I'll do a light jog, because for something like an ultra, you're not just balls to the wall sprinting the whole time. A lot of it is walking, and it's speed walking. It's walking at under a 15-minute pace. So it's weird because it works completely different muscles in your legs than when you're running.
Yeah.
And
I noticed that when I was walking.
It sucks.
That kicked in the fucking shin splints was the walking. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's so strange. For me, when I run, I get a lot of like soreness in my thighs and my hips. And then when I'm walking, it's all in my calves.
Yeah, calves.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's very
calves,
strange.
ankles. It is. It's like calves, ankles, shins when you're walking versus running. It's like your upper. Yeah.
How are your shins, by the way? Are they okay?
Yeah, they're back to normal. We're good.
Okay. I was so worried about you.
Now my legs are just fucking sore from my first leg day back in the gym. I'm like, oh.
How did that go? Did it set you back? at all?
Yeah, in strength, but I'll gain it back so quick. Like, you just do. It's like riding a fucking bike, where I'll be right back into it. But I'm sore. I'm very sore this week from.
Oh, dude, I haven't like done anything heavy on my legs in over probably 6 months.
That is nuts. Yeah, you definitely have to ease. I'm like easing back into it. Like, where I did not. I already knew I was gonna be sore just from the basics. So we're
Sure.
back to the lightweight. But oh my God, I've literally never had so much fun the last like 4 days in the gym. I'm like a kid in a candy shop. I'm like,
I love that. You've like refound your passion for it. That's amazing. I think taking a break and swapping it up, sometimes it's necessary for you to return to that like kid-like joyous state.
And
it
like
reminds you
the like gratitude and appreciation for it, where I'm like, oh, I just love it so much. Like, I'm just so excited to go today. It's like the highlight of my day again.
I love that for you. I love that so much. I wish I could like start running for the first time over again. And I'm in this streak now, so I'm like, fuck, I can't take a break. Like, I can't. But I'm hoping that at some point I can, and then I can come back and just remind myself how much I really do love it. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Okay, I think we covered so much. Like, last question. What kind of advice do you want to give to people? And this is, again, whether they have had a rough go at life, whether they are just in a lull, whether they just are looking for something to grab onto. Like, what is that last piece of advice that you want to give to people and you want people to know?
I would have to say, first and foremost, don't be afraid to reach out for help. That was something that I think held me back for a while. I was embarrassed. I felt shameful. I felt guilty. Like, just having to admit that your shit is out of control and you don't know what to do. Like, that's very difficult. And for people in addiction, like, we're very selfish individuals, and that's very hard for us. So I think reaching out for help, whatever that may mean, whether it be to a stranger on a hotline, to an Instagram message, your mom, whoever, I really think, my boyfriend's mom being there and just being like, hey, let's just try it again. It wasn't super pushy. It wasn't like, I'm making you do this, but it was just like, why don't you give it a go? Very gentle, very just easy. I didn't feel pressured into it. And I feel like with addicts, you have to be very careful because you can push them away very easily. It can turn into enablement very easily. And sometimes you just have to like let people figure things out for themselves. If someone does not want to get clean and sober, they're not going to get clean and sober. They have to at least want it to some degree. They don't necessarily have to be 100% all in, but they have to be somewhat in to want it and for them to even be open to receiving anything or changing anything. Yeah. So reaching out for help's a huge one. I think not being afraid to start and not being afraid to admit, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here, but I'm going to figure it out. Yeah. It's okay to suck. It's okay to not know. Like, that's life, baby. Who knows anything? Literally, who knows what could happen tomorrow? I don't. I have no idea. Hopefully I'll go for a run. Yep. Will it happen? We'll see. And I think that if you can get past that fear, I think fear's huge. Fear holds everyone back, not even people in addiction. It holds us all back from something we need to be doing, something we feel drawn to. But it's like, oh, I'm going to look stupid. It's going to suck. I don't know. I feel like accepting that it's okay to do things that are scary, and it's okay to do them if you're scared. Mm-hmm. For me, that's been huge. I'm just like, I'm terrified. And here I am walking into the fire. And if it's horrible, it's horrible. I don't ever have to do it again. And I don't know, for me, that just willingness to at least try it and just do it scared, what's the worst that could happen, has landed me in spaces I never thought I would be, but has also given me so much joy and confidence and capability even. And I just want people to know that you don't have to be this super athletic person or someone who is like killing it and totally in shape and fit and like a model body to go after your dreams and try something new. Like, I know that sounds so generic, but I feel like people get stuck in that planning phase and they're just like, oh, I need to research and I need to do this before I can do that. And I'm like, no, fuck that. Just do it. What's your first step? That's always something to me because I'm a step person. I need to see my next step. But really, all you don't need to have 1 through 10. You just need the next move. Yep. And you know what the next move is. You may not know how it's going to play out, but you know what the next step that needs to be taken. Mm-hmm. And for me, I have to let that be enough. And it has been. It will unfold for you. If you take that fucking leap, you will land on your feet and your next step will be revealed to you. Think of it as a fucking quest, okay? Literally. When you get to that rock, an elf will be there to tell you where to go next. At least it has for me. And it's kind of comforting for me to not have to worry. Because I was very much a person that got caught up in all of the steps of it all and prepping and, you know, it's just an excuse to not do the thing right now. Yeah. Yeah. Like, just try it. What's the worst that can happen? Really? So what if you look stupid? 100 years from now, no one's going to know our names. No one's going to know I ran a 100-mile race. Like, no one's going to know you ran 300 miles in 30 days. Like, fuck that. Like, no, next week, they probably won't even remember it. Like, yeah. Don't be afraid to do the dumb shit or whatever.
Or fail, right? Or fail at it. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to remember. Nobody cares. Nobody.
You kind of have to fail to get good at things. Like unless you're just one of those people who has that luck, I guess. Like you're going to have to fail in order to thrive and to make it. Mm-hmm. Like you can't skip it. You can't skip it. And embracing the suck and the shit is going to, one, you're going to be happier because you're just going to accept it and you don't have to sit there and complain and moan and bitch. Mm-hmm. But it's also going to make it that much more worth it. And I hope that if anything, that someone who hears this just, not only that it inspires them to do something different or to make that change, to take that step, to try that thing, but that it helps them to understand that anyone could do it. Anyone. You don't have to have all your shit together. You don't have to have that body you think you should. You don't have to be where you think you should be to start. You can just start right now and you can just start today. So yeah.
So start today, bitches.
Yeah. It's day 1. Don't start over on day 7 like me.
Let's fucking go. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was hands down one of the best episodes to date, so I appreciate you. I appreciate you, your vulnerability, opening up, sharing. Like, I want you to know that you're probably helping so many fucking people. Even just your journey on Instagram. Let us know where we can find you. I'll also tag it in the show notes. But what is your Instagram that everybody can follow your running journey through?
Yeah, so it's just Christina_VanCleave. And then I have set up a page for Club Sozo. It's just Club Sozo. We haven't posted anything yet, but I went ahead and set up a page. And I will be adding the link to the website really soon. So, yeah, let's just see what happens. Maybe I won't die. Maybe I'll go on to run 250 miles.
Yes. Okay. Well, that is a wrap. Thank you so, so much again. And we will talk soon, everybody.